Hey, I think we have everybody, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. Share my screen here. Do you guys see the agenda up?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. We'll go right to it since we got a lot to cover. I do expect to go over the hour, but we'll see how far we go over the hour by. So these are the minutes from April 5th. It's kind of weird seeing a board meeting that early in the month, but so obviously most of you know that we did a members meeting. Does anyone have any questions or comment on the minutes? And yeah, thank you, Megan and Aaron, for taking notes during that meeting too.
Yeah, that was well done.
Sure thing. Yeah, thanks, Megan.
It was easy for me, Aaron. You had the hard part.
Wasn't so bad.
Okay, I will take a motion to approve these.
I'll motion.
Okay, second, anyone?
And I can second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Okay, passed. Let's go into ratifying the election results. So there was some pretty clear winners here, obviously. Jeffrey Sprock, pretty much unanimous. Mike Edom captured 55% of the votes. Haley, as some of you may know, she now took a different position. Jason, do you know what company she's with now?
Yeah, Axiom Solutions.
Axiom Geospatial.
Yeah, so this is relatively new. Some of you may not know this. I saw it on LinkedIn like probably 3 days ago. So, but she captured 74% of the vote, and then the bylaws was fairly unanimous as well, with one person against it, and some people had. And that was a great call there, Michael. I think Michael worked with Michelle to add in the abstain vote category that we've never had before. So, and you can see that abstain category was used fairly often through the ballot. So, and I definitely have no problem with that. So, does anyone have any comments on this or just any general thought?
Is Haley's going to take the position then, or is she going to be able to still do it? Or
that was my next question, really. And I had a conversation with Jason. I think that, you know, we haven't heard anything, you know, one way or another with Haley. So I think we should probably just assume that it's good to go. But I think I will follow up with her, or myself or Michael could follow up with her just to confirm things that she went over with her new employer and everything's all good. Because that is a very important position too.
Yeah. So Jeff, she expressed excitement in learning about it when I messaged her via LinkedIn this morning, and then Jason, who is far more knowledgeable of these things, found that she has an email contact there, and so I didn't do it. I didn't feel it was in my right to send her a direct email, and I just told her that I'm sure someone with Magip would be in touch with her to do that. I didn't ask that question, that burning question of whether her new job would give her that time. I can't imagine that they wouldn't, but you know, some companies are weird that way. They may not, but yeah. She has a Gmail account or something like that one of you guys can maybe use to reach out to her and find out directly. So
yeah, Jason had shared that email with her, so I'll use that as probably a form of contact with her. So Anyone else have any questions?
Well, just making sure you're going to reach out to Mike as well once you ratify the results and make sure that he is still on board.
Yeah. I'll
Same
probably
thing with the
with Brock, Jeff
yeah.
Brock. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, between Michael and I, we could probably handle both of those. Or all three of those.
Yeah, Jeff. I did speak to Jeff Sprock. I literally sit right by him, so yeah, I think he's really excited. So I mean, definitely will send him an email and details and stuff, but I don't see any. I think he's excited.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to handle Jeff, I can handle the other two via email.
Is there any like logistic details, Jeff, that we want to? Is it like?
Well,
or is it just congratulations, you won?
Yeah, probably just informing them right now, and I think we'll probably circle back around all to all three of them, and obviously plus Mike Powell as well, to set up orientation. Yeah. So that'll be the main thing, and then we'll keep them involved in with because I think Mike is going to send out a survey in relations to the date for the retreat. So obviously they would need to be part of that too. So, and then invite them to the, so maybe include some information. I mean, you and I could probably work up a template where we're sending the same thing to all three of them, but then invite them to the meeting in Billings on the 22nd of June.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Yeah, and then just so I think I documented some of this in an email, but just to kind of say it for the record, I liked using it this way. I mean, I think Michael, I don't think you had any issues. So we chosen to use the polling options through Wild Apricot, and so it was a bit different. And you probably saw when you received your ballot, it looks a bit different than your SurveyMonkey, but I liked it. I liked it from the standpoint that you can send it directly to the active membership and you don't have to import a list into SurveyMonkey. The downsides, though, were pretty clear from my end. There was no functionalities, and I would imagine they'll add it in the future, but there's no functionalities to prompt reminders. I kind of had to set that up on through the email on the back end. And I did do some testing just to make sure the ballot, because with me, I already voted, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be able to vote twice. So that was my main concern. And then at the end here, when I exported the results, I just got a spreadsheet. So I just like, oh, really? So I spent like an unnecessary hour probably setting this up, but not unnecessary, but unexpected hour, I should say.
It looks nice. I mean, what you have here, but is that what we typically have sent, is like a graph and stuff? Is that expected?
Well, I mean, a spreadsheet wouldn't have worked in this case just because it was just a tally of all the individual results. So I had to do something, you know. And this was very similar to SurveyMonkey, except they put it on different pages. I chose to do it all in one. So I think visually it looks pretty good.
Yeah, this looks great.
We're not spending a ton of time.
No, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I was just able to create some pivot tables off of that, and yeah, do some quick drafts. So, any other comments from anyone else before we ratify these? Okay, I will take a motion to ratify these results, or not to, if you want to.
I second.
Oh, am I making the motion? Okay, I'll make the motion to ratify these results.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion. Sorry. Ratify results.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to make any motions, so that's why I kind of haven't been over the last year. So just so everybody's kind of aware of that. All right, those results have passed. Okay. Budget review. Nate, do you want to take this?
Yeah.
Do you want to just take it off this screen, or do you want to share your copy of it?
Yeah, I can share my.
Yeah, you should be able to steal it from me. So
It says I cannot start the screen share.
okay, I will dump it then. Okay, now you should be able to.
Okay, is it displaying for everyone?
Yep.
All right, so this is the 2023 proposed budget. And there's a few changes or things we'll have to discuss before moving forward with this. One being, this is based on a $10 increase to the membership, which would generate a little bit more revenue. And so then the income from registration and sponsorships and workshops, these numbers are based on an estimated attendance of 200 at the Bozeman GeoCon. And so, which is why it's a little bit higher than this year's actuals.
Did you get the actuals from Michelle at all?
So.
Or like what the fee is gonna be for Bozeman or whatever?
Yeah, so I've not gotten the facility cost from Michelle yet. So right now, I'm using 2022's facility cost. So that could increase a little bit yet. So some other things, and I
Hey,
have
Nate.
that noted. Yep.
Nate, just to stop you for a second, it actually sounds like the facility fee is not going to be as much in Bozeman. I think that's what we talked about.
Oh.
So it's potentially, well, sometimes it's dependent on us meeting certain criteria, especially for food, which the Missoula one didn't have. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was another question I need to clarify with Michelle. If there's a minimum in the contract we have with them, we have to, if there's a minimum, we have to spend on food in Bozeman. And it sounds like years past there has been a minimum, and it's been the 16,000. And yeah, I guess this seems like a hard number to estimate, just how much we're going to be spending on food. And I don't know, this just seems like so much of the budget going towards food. So I don't know if there's.
And we did less with food this year, and it seemed to work out just fine.
Yeah, and we still spent 23,000.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I think that's because of the food costs have starting to go up as well. So that's another thing that we probably not necessarily right here, but eventually increasing our cost for the conference as well. Just because facility fees and AV, well, particularly like the AVs and the food have just gone dramatically up the last couple of years.
So yeah, I guess I don't know if this is a realistic number or if there's ways of reducing that cost.
Nate, one more question. This is Rob. It looks like we increase the the membership revenue by about $800. Does that mean we're only counting on 80 paying members?
This is counting on 227 paying members.
With a $10 increase.
With a $10 increase, yeah.
Yeah, so Nate, I guess touch on I guess you probably have to skip down a little bit, but the professional services as to account why we would want to be increasing. I know we talked about it at the members meeting, but we did follow up with Michelle to kind of get, an estimate if we were to go through full scope for this service.
Yeah, so Michelle gave us an estimate of if we wanted to add a PIO position, a public information officer, to help us communicate in different avenues. And her estimate was for a position that would work 2 hours a week, being paid, it was like $45 an hour.
Yeah.
And so this would be the cost of that position for the course of the year.
Yeah, and so this is someone separate within full scope too. So it's not Michelle or Michael that we've dealt with in the past. Supposedly they've hired a communications person.
Yeah, and so I guess that's the main reason for wanting to adjust the membership.
Yeah, and I do want to reflect this for everybody too. This doesn't mean that we're going with full scope for this service. This is simply putting a line item in the budget for it so we can account for it and explain it really in especially the membership increase and what that covers.
Can I add something here? Sorry, I jumped in late, but came in right when you were talking about food. One of the reasons on that, when we sign a contract with a motel, they require so many meals and so many nights of hotels. So I don't know that you could cut that a lot. You might be able to cut it a little, but I doubt you'd be able to cut it a whole lot unless price food goes back down.
That's a really good point, Jenny. I'm glad you mentioned that. I remember that being the case for the Missoula.
Okay, and so it's written in the contract of how many meals we have to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, that's something I need to find out from Michelle what the contract says for Bozeman.
One thing that Nate and Mike and I talked about yesterday was, and I don't know how else you guys feel about it, but like the breakfast items, like I think we've gotten some feedback that what we did purchase even for this year might even been too much, and there was a lot of waste too. And so maybe having, like yogurts or, because not everybody likes Danishes and bagels. It was kind of just a very plain option for kind of a grab and go. So we could even go down to even further, but then there's other people that want a full scale breakfast, but that's just not realistic, and kind of looking at it from the food budget aspect too. So.
Well, and part of that is if you have to buy it through the hotel, which we do.
Yeah.
Of course, they go to the store, they buy it, they have their markup on it. So it's more expensive to do it that way, but you have to basically go out, pick from their menu.
Yep. But here's another option too, because and I know it doesn't fully cover for it, but most of us get per diem too. At least it helps towards breakfast. I think I had a bagel, but I don't know. I usually don't eat breakfast, and I think most people are in that camp. I care more about probably coffee really than anything in the morning, but that's probably something to talk about later. I don't think we necessarily need to be making cuts to the food aspect part of that today. So
Also comes down to if your hotel you're at provides a breakfast. For example, when I came to Missoula,
that's true.
I stayed over at the Marriott Resident Inn and had a full breakfast every morning. So
yeah, and we had a lot of people staying over there too. So Yeah, I don't know about you all, but this is the first conference I've seen where probably more people stayed away, away from the main facility than there was. I mean, it was fairly close. I mean, we had quite a few people across the street. It was kind of starstrucking, really.
Well, and it was hard because we didn't know what this year was gonna hold. I mean, even coming down to the deadlines of what we had to have the rooms reserved and stuff.
Yeah. Michelle was telling me the other day though, she's planning for this conference that's over like in Maine or something, and the hotel that they're working with is totally lenient. And I think they've even went past the room block and everything, the room block deadline and all of that, and they were still willing to give them more rooms. Just so part of it was like just the Holiday Inn just not willing to work with us at all. But at least we got heads up about this, back in October when Michelle was still dealing with them then. So.
Well, and there were some issues. I know I brought the form to turn in for, so they'd put it on the city's credit card and some of that kind of stuff. I got charged on my personal one, had to go back and get reimbursed. Zach got charged for an extra room, I think at least one extra room, and had to go back and get that straightened out. So there were some issues there, and in the future, we might want to consider that. And I believe that if we hadn't already had this agreement in place in Bozeman, we probably wouldn't be having it here next year because rates have gone crazy.
Yeah,
And I
I mean,
wouldn't be surprised if they try to make up with that for that in like the food and some of the other charges.
yeah.
Okay, Nate, continue. Sorry for the
Yeah,
sideshow.
so I guess just one more thing about food. I think it would be worth checking the contract if there's a minimum, and then would it be worth checking with the venue in Bozeman to see what the rate is currently? See if it has.
I think Michelle would have all that, right? She should have that right now, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got the contract.
All right. We'll
It's
check
already
with
been
Michelle.
signed for a couple of years.
Okay. All right. And then there's this grants category. And it looks like we didn't do anything with it this year. And so just because I think a lot of it was in Missoula, and so students didn't have to travel or they just didn't request it.
We only had one student.
Okay.
Were they under scholarship there, Jenny?
I don't know that they asked for student travel because I think the college paid for them to go, but they did get the free registration. And as far as scholarships, I'm not sure. Rob knows more about that than I do.
So you probably need to account for that, Nate, in the assistance. At least put mark one as registered.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know we had any scholarship recipients, so thanks for chiming in there, Jenny.
Yeah.
And I think that might just be a confusion in the terms, right? So there were there were two students who had received scholarships who were in attendance, and we did give them waive their registration.
Yeah.
So there would be total maybe 3 waived registrations.
But we have had, I would say as many as 12 or 13 students. With it being here in Bozeman, we very well could do that again. I'd love to see that again. But we typically budget for 10. And then if we get, a couple more, then we come back to the board and say, do you want to approve a little bit additional for them?
Right.
But yeah, that's free registration. That's not grants. And then we gave them.
That's what the assistance is for, the free registration.
Yeah, or is that
Sure.
does that indicate
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
there it is.
And then the travel, I don't think she put in for that. I didn't see anything that she put in for that, but we offer $150 if they want to apply for it for a travel stipend.
I do want,
If they're 100 miles from home.
Right.
so I want Jeremy to kind of weigh in on this. So do you know why some of this stuff was put under grants? Because I don't even know if there is a scholarships category.
So there is a distinction, or was a distinction, between scholarship. The K through 12 education up there is technically the grant. I believe. Is that the case? Rob, are you on the call as well?
Yep. I think that it's lined up perfectly.
Oh, there is a scholarships.
Yeah,
one.
I think that should be down under scholarships.
The assistance part of it. The assistance and student travel should be under scholarships in the future, maybe.
Yeah, I think the heading of grants is kind of a misnomer on what these things are. I would agree that they probably should be consolidated under one group. But it was basically the formwork of the previous matrix. So I just continued to use it. It looks like Nate did too. So, but yes, that's the case.
The one way to kind of sort it out in your head is the grants is more K through 12. Scholarships is more for post high school. You kind of your undergrad and graduate level stuff. So, I mean, maybe we should consider moving those two items down into scholarships just to kind of clarify some things and, kind of keep it straight in most people's eyes, I should say.
Yeah, it was funny. I got so used to seeing it for 2 years, I just kind of left it that way, and I would recommend moving it as well. It'd just be easier to understand. But as far as grants and scholarships go, I did notice this and was mentioning this to Nate a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes we just don't really get one or the other. Usually grants are the ones that we don't seem to get as much. But then there was a question of how those funds are received out to folks otherwise. But grants, are typically reserved for people that are K through 12 and go directly to those recipients versus the universities themselves.
Okay. Nate, do you want to jump down to scholarships now that we have it on our minds? Because I know we had a carryover that we didn't use last year, and I think we forgot to remind Rob about it too, because it was a carryover from the previous budget. And I think Jeremy, you could probably weigh in on this too, because you probably remember.
Is this the refund?
Yes. Yeah, this is the refund.
Yeah. I was just looking at that too. I noticed that 4,000 versus the 3,000, and I mean, it's not like there's an actual bucket where the refund went into. So.
Yeah, I mean that was the hardest part about treating what to do with that refund from the previous year, and we could have just spent it this year. We could have just awarded two $2,000 grants, and that would have satisfied the amount. But it's probably up to us if we want to carry that over next year, and we'll just have to remember to factor that in when we award those two scholarships.
Right.
Or if you want a third one, or if you want a third one, I mean, that would give you flexibility to offer a third one if you wanted to.
Well, it would be nice, but I am a little bit concerned about the conference next year and the possible expenses, and let's just be conservative. If there is a windfall and we have the opportunity, then it'd be great to increase it. But if we at least hold it stable, I think would be good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Well,
that sounds good.
It is stable at 3,000, but this next year we're going to have the extra $1,000 to use.
Yeah, but we might have to buy bagels,
yogurts, oranges.
It was funny. I actually didn't have a chance to talk with Jerry or any of the previous treasurers to know if there was precedent set for refunds from the universities. That refund was actually sent back to us automatically by a particular student that was not enrolled. So apparently something that can happen and should be accounted for in the future. But that is what happened with that particular $1,000.
Good.
Yeah, let's just roll back to 3,000 there, Nate. And we'll figure it out if we're able to award the extra 1,000 or not.
Yep. I'm comfortable with that, and we have the education grant at 3,000 as well. I think that's sufficient at the moment.
Okay. What else? So there's the software, and this is just basically the QuickBooks category, which is $25 a month. And Jeremy, do you know why there was $600 budgeted for it last year? I can't figure out what else to put in that category.
I think what was happening with that particular 600, it was based off of previous years. And I think that the software at that time was a combination of a couple of different softwares that we didn't use any point after that. It was not a hard and fast number. I think it was just what the budget results of 2019 and 2020 looked like. And I don't know if that was the costs for things like Sketch, or if the Sketch was a cost, or if there was some form of pre-Apricot era cost related to software. But I do know that that category was resulting in that from 2018, 19, and 20. I don't think that there was a specific earmarked reason why it would be $600 though. Again, it's just a holdover. If it's not the case anymore, I don't think it have to be reserved, nor if there's any board action that would result in new software being purchased. My recommendation is not to hold fast to that, or hold that a hard cost anyway.
There's multiple softwares that we use besides just QuickBooks. Wild Apricot, like you say, the SCED.
Those are in web services there, Jenny.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're down below web services.
Would that's, oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, some of those
Sorry.
are captured down here in the hosting and payment processing. And then Sketch is captured here in GeoCon supplies.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. I think that to answer your question, Nate, and for the board, that software cost up there might be a legacy item similar to the arrangement of the scholarships and grants being separate categories. It could be feasible just to combine that software cost up above and stick it under web services to be a little bit more descriptive of what it is. Now, that particular $250, I would need to see the budget itself to see what that was earmarked to, but I would keep in mind that that's being used for something at this point. But $600 may be in excess of what is necessary.
I think at one time, not too long ago, Wild Apricot was going to go up substantially as well.
That's really good
That's
to know.
down
Actually.
below.
Yeah.
Yes, that is web services.
Okay.
So Wild Apricot increased this past year because now they are handling our domain services. And so we're able to drop GoDaddy since Wild Apricot is able to handle that line item.
Cool.
So they basically cancel each other out essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's software, and if everyone thinks so, we'll just keep it or lower it down to 300, and then maybe move this along or below the category of web services, so it makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so then there's speakers. So this is the workshops that Eric Pimpler provides. And so for next year's, I just increased it by 10%, just as an estimate. And travel, we didn't have to pay for any speakers travel this year, which was a plus. General supplies and GeoCon supplies. So this is the schedule app that everyone used at the GeoCon to see what workshops were going on and what presentations. And this is used, or the highest plan was used, which is $5.99. And Jeff, do you know the difference between the lower and the higher plans, if they
We'd have to talk to Michelle because I know she had purchased the higher one last year, but I want to say it was just to account for the vendors. Now a lot of you will remember this. This used to be a $99 service probably not too long ago. So like, but on the counter side of this, everyone uses Sketch, so it's well worth what we pay for. It's just a matter of what level or what degree we pay for. So, but yeah, I mean the basic packages is $4.99 compared to $99 just 3 years ago.
So that's it under Geocon supplies? That's the only item under there essentially?
Yes.
Well, I think some of it gets thrown under the marketing though there, Jenny. Because I think that's where we have some of the printing costs, the swag, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so some of the printing cost goes under the professional services.
All those badge ribbons.
Yeah. those
Yeah.
went under,
Well, we have to
all
have
those badge ribbons, those went under the swag up here.
And we didn't have any new swag this year.
For swag, those were the name tags that were provided to everyone at the Geocon.
And then what
Yeah.
about like the boards that the posters get mounted to?
Yeah, and those were $1,000.
That was equipment, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, equipment rental.
Got it.
Yeah, so our conference budget's kind of all over the place in this, but yeah, this is kind of just a snapshot of our full budget.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jeff. This does break out into categories that are specific to Geocon. The thing that maybe is confusing is the name Geocon supplies. Well, they are supplies, yes, definitely, but the supplies are all over this thing. Rental costs and audiovisual, it's maybe a little bit of a misnomer as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. It might be nice to organize this a little bit better for Geocon related expenses and non-Geocon related expenses.
Yeah. Well, Nate, are you gonna do a full budget where you break this out? Because I think in the typical spreadsheet it's kind of broken out. I mean, I don't think we need to break it out like we had in the past by committee, but at least having it broken down to the conference level.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, take a look at the previous spreadsheet. I'm sure Jeremy could offer some assistance if he has time.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to, Nate, if you want to touch base on that. I have both a form work that Michelle used and then one that we had for the board as well that broke it up into categories. So easy stuff. I'd be happy to.
Yeah, because this is one thing I was talking with Michelle earlier too, probably a month or so ago. I mean, because sometimes she'll get our full budget mixed up with our conference budget, but the two kind of do. I mean, the conference budget essentially feeds into the full budget, but they kind of do operate independently sometimes, particularly when we're planning for the conference. Stuff for the conference needs to come out of that particular budget.
Zach's already asked me for a budget for next year's conference.
So supplies, so travel, this is for the, what's it called? The board retreat, lodging, food, and taxes for that. And so I just kept last year's numbers until Mike had an estimate for lodging and food. And then the last part are the web services, and all of these are fixed expenses. They don't change much. So I just kept all of those the same. Conferencing is Zoom, and then hosting is Wild Apricot. Payment processing is AffiniPay, and then surveys is SurveyMonkey. And I guess I just thought of this with the election, since we do we use Apricot's surveys. Would it be necessary to have SurveyMonkey anymore?
We talked about this last year. I remember this. I still think SurveyMonkey probably still does serve its purpose, particularly for salary surveys and this and that. And I think we even use SurveyMonkey for the nomination form as well. Yeah, I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I'm hesitant to dropping that right now just because of the lack of functionalities that Wild Apricot. We'd have to export all the surveys probably just to keep a history out of SurveyMonkey unless there's a read-only option. There's just so much history in that right now, and I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts, but just kind of playing around with the survey functionality with Wild Apricot, it is not there.
I would agree.
Yeah, and you just saying that, it seems like we might as well just hold off and keep SurveyMonkey. Plus, yeah, we'd need to figure out, not that it would take forever, but exporting all of those surveys out and having them saved somewhere,
yep.
Especially election results.
Yep.
But question with the payment processing, I was under the impression that Wild Apricot also is doing, maybe it's PayPal,
PayPal
that
to that InfiniPay or whatever.
That it's all within Wild Apricot now and not a separate thing we had to pay for.
So that amount almost should go under hosting then, right? So it's just like an extra hosting charge. Is that kind of what you're getting at there, Megan?
Well, what I'm wondering is if we're already paying for the payment processing with the Wild Apricot and that we shouldn't be paying an additional fee for InfiniPay separately, but I'm not sure how we have things set up.
Yeah, I think that'd be a question for Michelle.
I would agree with that.
That would be pretty sweet.
That would be a significant savings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can send what I was referring to with the Wild Apricot, just that link, and then see maybe the InfiniPay is something else. But I thought for sure that it's taking care of like the payment, like that we would have done before through PayPal.
There's some reason that we switched to InfiniPay instead of PayPal.
Yeah, but I think that was prior to all the functionality add-ins from Wild Apricot. It's definitely something to look into. So Megan, though, I guess the only question I have though too, does when there still be like a charge, because the way I think it works is like there's a certain percentage that's charged for every credit card use. Is that right there, Nick?
So that's what I was wondering, if that's what that was, if that's just the percentage that they're charging us per transaction.
That's the percentage of the transactions there.
Okay. Then there's no getting rid of it.
It was a happy.
You could only wish, right?
Go ahead there, Jeremy.
Oh, no, I'm just quipping too. No worries.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that's the budget, and that's including the new, if we added this line item, a PIO position and the $10 membership increase. But puts us in the black. So
yeah, I think that was a good review there, Nate. I think we probably do need to follow up on a few things, particularly for planning next year's conference. Get that shored up in its own tab, just so then it's kind of easy to flip back and forth. But yeah, I think overall it looks really good though. Does anyone else have any comments? We'll look to approve this at next month's meeting if we're ready. Kind of like last year. We'll do a final review.
Oh, Rob had a question on the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I put something in the chat. You could take a look at it, and we don't have to belabor the point right now, but maybe sometime.
Yeah, well, and Nate, go to your additional comments too. No, down at the bottom, I think you had some questions. There was one related to like sending out a survey to the membership. I I think we probably should just handle this. I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels about this, but I mean, I think we overload our membership with emails enough around this time of year, and I don't know if any feedback from the membership. I think what we got at the members meeting was probably satisfaction that to go forward with the PIO, you know, with raising the rate to cover it.
Yeah, and you know, I might suggest even raising it to $50. You know,
Mike was saying the same thing yesterday.
I brought that up yesterday, yeah.
You know, I mean, if it's coming out of my pocket, I'm not going to notice the difference between 40 and $50 a year. And this way, we wouldn't have to raise it again in a year or two. You know?
Well, and I think you could just put this new proposed budget in your meeting materials for next month, and then the membership could see that for themselves. And if they have questions, they could attend the meeting, and without sending a specific email just about the
I was going to send
increase.
I was going to send out an email kind of announcing that we'll be approving our budget at next month's meeting, and essentially inviting people. And you know, I think we probably should provide all this material, you know, a week in advance, just so, you know, well, for all of us to review it, and plus, you know, to let the membership know, just because June's meeting is a big deal. You know, we're not only bringing on our new members, our board members, but also approving our budget for the upcoming year. So,
you know, in terms of the member stuff, I was just thinking about it. That's not all going to come in at once, right? I mean, that's going to trick, like, because the membership is like your anniversary date of signing up.
That's correct.
Yeah, and this past year, most of the membership came in with registration for the GeoCon.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Because otherwise, that full amount wouldn't be guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah, we could lose members. You know, we don't know. You know, $50 may be the cutoff for some people. I don't know.
I'll tell. Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna raise it, we do need to talk to the membership, right? To see if they're gonna be for it, or are we just gonna say, hey, this is the new fee structure?
I don't think it's in our bylaws. Megan or Jenny, maybe you know something about this. I couldn't find anything about membership fees and having to have a membership.
No, I don't
approval.
believe that it is. That would be really restricting if it was. I don't believe that it is.
Yeah, we obviously, I think we give.
It would be nice to do that, though. I think.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly could send out, you know, well in advance. You know, like say we're planning this for August's meeting, you know, that we're going to approve, you know, because obviously it's going to be a board decision, not just something we put in the budget, and, you know, all of a sudden you get an invoice for $20 hike.
And as long as you're getting it all back, if you register for one event, like, you know, because the membership amount, registration amount is typically at least that much lower, if not more. It's kind of a wash anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be difficult unless we got a full survey of the whole membership. It would be really difficult to base a decision on a few responses.
Yep.
Right. And so maybe we could phrase it saying, if you have very strong opposition, please let us know. Right.
Well, and I would also put out there when the last time we had a raise in the fees was.
Ever?
We've talked about this a lot.
Have we ever?
And I don't know that we ever have.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could do some interesting accounting, Nate, and we could say, you know, what was $30 worth?
Oh yeah.
What, you know, some inflation adjusted increase. You know, what was $30 worth when we first started it?
Yeah.
You got to sell it. solid how it's presented.
Okay.
And then
So-
also just mentioning that a lot of the reason for raising membership is so we could afford a PIO position, correct? Was that the kind of
It's the main
driving
reason.
force behind it?
Yeah.
Which would hopefully have a benefit to membership?
I would love it if that PIO could bring in enough membership to pay for itself.
But nah, see, now that's a membership development position.
I would be shocked though if we were sitting at the same number of membership this time next year after hiring a PIO. I'd be shocked. Like I think in by itself it would generate new members because I mean we struggle with social media and communication, just as a board as a whole. But having a position that is really dedicated for that, I think it will do us a lot of good service for sure.
Mhm.
I agree. And I'm also good with going with full scope right now because I think it's gonna take us several months to try to hire somebody and try to figure out the cost behind it and everything. And if full scope's already got somebody that's willing to do it 2 hours a week at the certain fee, it's just a matter of us updating the contract, really.
Yeah, and we can see if it's providing us the results we were hoping for.
Right, exactly. And then in a year or so, we can just say we don't want that, or we'll do it ourselves or whatever. But yeah, I think I think we should start moving forward with that.
Well, and I think if they can be flexible with that 2 hours a week, like Michelle is with conference, because we would have more getting closer to conference and that sort of thing. That would be really helpful with conference planning as well.
Right. And didn't Jeff, did you say that there is a little flexibility in there? Like it's possible that there's a little flexibility in there?
Michelle did say that. I don't know if it's true or not. I mean, we'd have to have probably, you and I would probably need to have a side conversation with Michelle.
Yep.
But obviously I think it's Michael's call, and yeah, but she did say that she was willing to work within our budget restrictions. But honestly, I think we could afford the 4,700 by increasing the $10.
Well, definitely, but if we increase it by $20.
Yeah.
And what becomes of the associate membership fees?
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the associate membership fees.
Yeah, if you raise one, are you going to raise them all?
I think this is something we probably need to look at for June's meeting. So yeah, let's put on the agenda, talk about membership fees and also in PIO, because we'll have more time to discuss it too, because I think we do need to move on.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Mike, do you want to talk briefly about the strategic planning location, kind of what you're thinking?
Yes, the strategic planning. I was thinking it came up. I think it was brought up in the last strategic one at Sealy Lake there. But I have started making phone calls to Red Lodge to see if we can set up something in Red Lodge. I haven't got any calls back yet. I just left some messages. So as soon as I hear something, get some numbers down, I can give them to Nate and we can fill out those budget areas there. But I was thinking Red Lodge. Of course, we can come up with couple other ideas and send it out as a survey to people. Still planning on September sometime. But like I said, I'm waiting on dates and callbacks to see what's available. But that's what I'm kind of looking for right at the moment. Does anybody got any other ideas, or are they happy with Red Lodge? Or
I think we should just move forward with Red Lodge personally, and then we can start talking about dates once we start getting the new members on board.
yeah, I'm good. I'm certainly good with that. But if somebody else got any other ideas, certainly bring it up.
Oh, and Nate, do you want to stop sharing too?
So I figure in the June meeting too, we'll talk about that a little further as well, as because by then I should have some more information.
Okay. Yeah, and it'd probably be helpful probably in the meantime to send out, well, yeah, probably send out a survey there, Mike. Let's maybe handle this before June's meeting of if the location is good for everybody.
Okay.
And then we can also include the new members too.
Yeah, dates on there or something too. Okay.
And dates, yeah. And sometimes the dates will depend on the facility. I know I didn't start putting dates in there until we knew the facility. So, but yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. And this, so setting our upcoming board meeting, is everyone still good with the third Tuesday, or does anyone have any objections with that? What about time? I like the 2 o'clock, but I know we switched from 3 to 2 a couple years ago.
Might want to check with your new board members before you make a decision.
And we can bring this up in June as well. As of right now, I'm good with the way it is.
Okay. And then I did bring up with Michelle, and she was good with it. And I think it's probably good just because we don't really necessarily have much of a board meeting in September. And I don't think any of us have had the chance to even look at the Bozeman facility. But having a quarterly meeting in Bozeman and make it optional for folks to attend, I think that would be a good idea. And then we can have it at the conference facility and invite conference, key conference planning members on the walkthrough or whatnot, just so they have the chance to see it as well, kind of see how everything would be laid out. So certainly, does anyone else have any comments about doing something? Because I don't think we haven't done that. Well, I'll take that back. I think Jenny, I think you guys had some sort of quarterly meeting at the facility, didn't you? In your Octobers when you were president?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something we've done in the past, but we're we're bringing it back.
I'm good with that.
And I think it'll be the first time Michelle gets to see it too, because I've already ran it past her. So. Okay. And then I did move the December one up just because the way it falls, the third Tuesday is real late and it's the week of Christmas. So I moved that up a week. And I don't think anyone you'll have a problem because I don't really want to have a meeting the week of Christmas. I don't know how you all feel, but.
Oh, way to look ahead there.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk more about this later. Maybe I'll send this out to everyone with including the board, the new board members, and we can maybe approve this offline. But I think third Tuesday sounds pretty good, 2 o'clock. But yeah, we'll wait to hear from those others that are joining us. Okay, I think we do need to skip through this quite quickly. I think we kind of mentioned this. One thing I want to talk about in June is potentially setting up a Marls partnership. I think we did talk about this at the retreat, or I think we talked about it in one of the breakouts in the retreat, and proposing to them to comp exhibit booth space at each other's conferences. And honestly, because I'm usually there at the Marls conference for Montana State Library. So I think we would go very well at their conference, particularly if the state library continues to support them. So I don't know how else you think. I know it'd be nice to have a surveyor in presence at our conference too. So I definitely we would benefit for having Marls at our conference too. So I think it's a win-win. I don't know if anyone else has anything on that before we move on. But
have we discussed that with them yet?
the what?
Have we even discussed that with them yet?
I've brought it up with Dan Staley. He's not officially on the board, but he's kind of been in that camp for many years. And they've been to Magip a couple times.
And
We
we've
just
been
have,
to theirs a couple times.
yep. So now it's just a matter of kind of putting pen to paper, probably
Sure.
entering a formal partnership with them. So we'll talk about that more next month. But just to get to thinking about it. But yeah, job boards, obviously, adding a local government update. Tommy's been doing a really good job over there. And then work plan check-in too. So those are a few things that I've kind of top communication specialist. I'll add that on there too, or the PIO. So.
And rate increase.
Oh yeah, I'll just add that now. Okay, I'll do a quick recap, and Steve, you can, Steve and Jenny, you can chime in as well. Earth Science Colloquium recap. So Jenny, Stephen, and I were there to judge. There was probably 50 some posters. We ended up giving out 3 awards. I can't remember who their names were. I think, yeah, I sent them in an email the day after we wrote the checks. But yeah, all great posters. The only drawback was there wasn't really much of a GIS present there. I don't think there was a single GIS student there. All of them were basically either geology, physical geography, or snow science. So hopefully that changes in the future. But there was the ones that at least I scored, and I think Stephen and Jenny, you as well. There was some good posters. And we probably had 20 or so to score. But I don't know.
Originally, they told us there was only gonna be one, so I was actually pleased that there was as many as there was.
Yeah, it was in a tight room. I would have liked to have spoken to some of the students more, but it was kind of a tight space in there, and it's getting a bit of claustrophobic, to be honest with you. So I think that's basically it. Yeah, 3 good winners, and I think we should continue to support them. So just kind of go quickly through these miscellaneous stuff. Curtis, I think Curtis DeVault had submitted a request for assistance, and I think Michelle's got a handle on it. I believe in the future, and I don't think we've had one for a while, and I think Lee was still taking care of the ones we did get in. So Michelle had some questions on what to do there, but so I think Michelle is just going to write Curtis's GISP support letter and call it good.
I had been doing those, so that's good that Michelle can get that figured out.
Oh, you've been doing those. Okay. How many were, there's probably only been like a couple a year, huh?
Yeah, there haven't been that many.
Okay.
Maybe 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah. And then Michael and Steve, the floor is yours if you want to say a few departure wisdom words for us. Is Michael still on?
I am.
Okay.
Is Steve there still?
I'm here, but you can go first, Mike.
All right. Wisdom speech. It's been, I think 2016 is when I first joined the board as just a member at large, and it's just been awesome. I do apologize, I haven't been as engaged the last 6 months. It's been a little bit hectic. But the work that you all have done, just seeing the success of the conference and everything, it's just been so awesome to be a part of this group, and definitely gonna miss each of you. Gonna try to stay engaged for sure too, and hopefully stay connected with you all, and certainly have HDR be a part of the organization moving forward too. That's been something that's been good, I think, is having HDR recognize that there's more professionals out there other than engineers, and a big thanks to Meg for making that possible. I've lived in other states that don't have this type of organization, and it really is. I think it's special. I mean, there's Eureka has its regional presences, but I don't think there's anything like this. I really don't. So thank you, everybody, and it's been awesome. Steve, it's all you.
Thanks, Michael. We'll miss you too.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't have much to add to what Michael said, but really enjoyed working with everyone and meeting folks and watching the board mature over the last. I think I was on for 4 or 5 years. You know, it's I feel like we've formalized a lot of stuff and really kind of helped the board become a bit more of a fixture and formal. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to kind of work with everyone and really excited to focus and be able to help Tommy more with this local government group. I'm excited that got off the ground. That was kind of one of my goals when I joined the board, was to start bringing together some of these more niche user groups than just GIS as a whole. So yeah, appreciate the opportunity and thanks you guys, and I'll be in touch and certainly willing to help out as you guys need in the future.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sir Steve. Yeah, and Phoebe was unable to join us. She's out in the field, but I'll try to get some sort of a statement from her and send it out to you all. So I think it's important to incorporate to kind of your farewell into the last meeting. So, and both of you, obviously, Michael, with you being in Billings, you're more than welcome to pop into our June meeting as well. So,
Jeff, I think I'm probably take you up on that. It'd be great to see you all again.
yeah, exactly. You didn't get to see us at the conference, so.
No.
Well, just remember, Michael, that we're having the walkthrough for the Billings conference the day before as well. So you were more than willing to come for that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, please continue.
No, I was just gonna say, we're probably gonna be contacting you for maybe some conference help there a little bit, maybe next year or 2 years from now.
Absolutely. I'm on board.
Excellent.
Yeah, so just so everyone's aware, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to make it. I'm going to try. We're gonna get Jeff, Mike, and Michelle to tour the 2 facilities that we'd be considering for 2024 for the Billings conference. And so we have at least have something to talk about at the board meeting the next day. So we're going to do those. Michelle's setting those up. I think she has both of them set up like late afternoon, kind of back to back, probably 2 hours tops to walk through both of them. So
Yeah.
So we'll send you information on that, Michael, if you're over to jump over real fast. But
sounds great.
Cool.
Okay, Nate, give us a monthly treasure. I think Nate's still on, isn't he? I think he may have had to drop off.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're up.
Yeah, I guess just been pretty busy with budget, and the taxes are handled and submitted, and I have a couple scholarship checks to send out to the University of Montana and Montana State. So
When do we have to have the budget finalized? Is that June's meeting?
June, if we're ready for it.
Okay.
But our new year would start June 1.
Right.
July 1.
Or July 1, sorry. Yeah. And I think that's why we have kind of a flexibility to approve it in July if we're not quite ready. So yeah, we'll probably give it one more review over the next month, and have, you know, kind of hopefully a final export the week before, so we can give it out to the membership, give it all to you all to kind of review it ahead of time. Not that this wasn't valuable, but we probably won't be doing this next month again, you know, kind of going line by line again. So, but it's good to kind of at least go over it once with everybody with a good review. Okay. Rob with scholarship and grants.
Yeah, I'm glad Nate mentioned it. And one of the problems we've had in the past is like you have a student that goes and they're close to graduating and then they only take the minimum amount of credits. And sometimes that goes against university policies for them receiving funds. So I think this year when we issue those checks, Nate, let's you and I coordinate on that, and we'll send a letter and saying, please disperse those funds in the fall semester. So basically
Okay.
all at once instead of half in the fall and half in the spring.
Okay, great. Yeah. Did you want me to send over the cover letter I have going to go with the checks to the university? And
Yeah, that would be great.
okay, cool.
And I can give you some. So just get in touch with me with email, and we'll work it out. I can give you a specific person at U of M to contact, and you may still have a person at MSU, and if not, we can try to find them.
Okay, great.
Okay. So that's really all I have to contribute. That was just some things I discovered in dealing with the financial aid offices this winter.
Yeah, that is interesting, Robin. I think that would be a good change.
And we've done it in the past, but people change, people change their positions and things of that nature, and that knowledge gets lost. So we'll just keep doing that.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Okay, Steve with member development.
Yeah. First, we had some really good interactions at the conference and in-person meetings. From the folks I talked to, the kind of breakout sessions at the end were pretty popular for the people who stuck around, especially the local government folks. And then the one other thing is that's still kind of hanging over there before I am finished with the board is the 2021 salary survey. It's more or less completely drafted. The only thing I need to wrap up is the conclusion, and then I need to get an executive summary from Jeff as the board president. And once those two things are done, I don't know if we want to run it past the board before we release it, or if we just want to send it out to the membership. But that's kind of the last little thing lingering over my head here to try and wrap up.
Yeah, it'd be good to get that part of the accomplishments for this year. So, yeah, I mean, I think we could probably send it out to the board before sending it out to the membership, just to give everybody kind of a look over. Some of you probably are seeing it for the first time too. So yeah, I guess over the next half a week to a week, let me look it over and add the executive summary and inclusion for you there, Steve. I can do that for you.
Thanks, Jeff. And if anyone else is curious and wants to look at it in the meantime, it is in the Google Drive in the I think it's professional development's what the folder is called, but in that folder you can find the 2021 survey. Yeah, I'd like to get some feedback sooner than later, just so it doesn't kind of keep lingering out there.
Cool. All right, thanks, Steve.
Thank you, guys.
Phoebe's not here. Jason gave me his report because he kind of had to bow a little early because he had a commitment to get to. But yeah, so Jason had he sent some handwritten thank yous to all the workshop instructors on behalf of the workshop committee. The conference survey, overall, most folks enjoyed the workshops and they were affordable and valuable. So some conference survey recommendations that Jason kind of summed up for us pretty nicely. Better signage, ensure power strips are available in each room. Instructors should email finalize requirement prior to the workshop, and I know Mike Powell had a big issue with that too, because I think some of them were sending them out Friday, like late afternoon.
Yeah.
add levels to each workshop, novice, intermediate, advanced. And then workshop requests include Python, QGIS, advanced LiDAR, ArcGIS notebooks, insights, GISP, how-to workshops, including tips and tricks, georeference, create import domains, etc. So I think those are all good suggestions. I always forget about the tips and tricks, and it's seemed to be an underrated topic that hasn't been really included in our conference. That may be a good refresher to have somebody come in and just teach, or even could be a technical presentation, an hour and a half long, tips and tricks of how to do something, or the task or something. So something to consider. So that's basically Jason's update that he sent me. So
Jeff, would you send that to me for reference for next year?
Oh, yeah, we can. Yeah, we'll send you. You want the report?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some really good comments in the report. So yeah, I can send it to you. Megan, do you have anything with web?
No. Once the election stuff gets finalized, I can help put that out there, unless you want to just do it, Jeff. Otherwise, yeah. Nothing here.
Okay. Would you mind helping with orientation again?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. It's always nice to involve a web person. So, Eric, are you still on? Emily, council.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
Speeding fast, man. Sunlight's coming around my open window over here. I'm gonna have to close the blinds, so.
I had to earlier.
My side of the building that gets that late afternoon sun and it warms up pretty quick over here, so. Mind you, I'm not complaining. So, yeah, I guess as of next meeting, I guess based on the voting, in my case, I become an official member of the Magip board. Should MLAC reappoint me, we'll have to. I think that might. I'll have to bring this up to Aaron and Jenny, I guess now.
December, right?
Yeah, I guess make them aware of this being the case of everything. So actually,
we'll have you for 6 months then at least.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, they may kick me off. You never know. So
get to vote next month. That's good. Just in time for the budget.
Yeah. I got to make a note here now that I think about it. There we go. MLAC, we met, prior to the conference. Well, I guess it was at the conference. So we had a number of people came, a number of people were online as well. So I don't think I was a little disappointed. I didn't see more people from the council actually show up for the meeting. It was too bad about that, but that's, it is what it is. Let's see some of the stuff that's probably of most interest. Let's see here. The fiscal year 23 grant program. If I have my notes are correct, we had about 8 grants. They asked for 283,000, but we had budgeted 250, had been budgeted to give out for grants. And so we had MLAC ended up having a little bit of an over ask from grants, but they are going to make an attempt to fund all the grants in some capacity. So nice thing about that is for the next gen 911 grants that they had, the state library is developing some online tools for data validation. So that might help with some of those recipients that were asking for money along those lines. Let's see, the strategic plan was presented by AppGeo and some things like that. It outlines some of the plans, the goals going forward, which I should back up and look at that again. The state library is developing a new brand and logo and some new marketing tools. I don't know, have they released that yet, Jeff? I haven't noticed. I don't think so.
No.
Okay. So I know that there's some stuff that they're working on there. Place names, nothing big there. Interesting, a nice coordination with the Bureau of Indian Affairs from a gentleman, Ken. He's going to help with some more coordination along that side of things. But yeah, those are kind of some of the bigger items that I had more detailed notes on. So I don't know if there's anything, Jeff, that stood out to you. I think you were sitting in the audience for a portion of the meeting. So
Yeah, no, I think you touched on it. Yeah, their next meeting is coming up in about a month. I think it's the week before ours, right?
yeah, probably. That's one of those things that it gets on my back burner until until suddenly I look at my monthly calendar and go, oh, wow, okay, I got that coming up.
I had the same comment though. I was surprised that most of the council members chose to just call in.
Yeah, Emily Act meeting is the 16th, June 16th. I have on according to my calendar here. So
and you guys are returning to in person if
I think so.
I believe
yeah.
it right, because I think they're having it over at DNRC.
Yep. Okay, I got to take a call real quick.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Yeah, so MLAC is returning to in-person meetings. So I had to adjust the schedule a little bit because I had them still showing the meeting online and starting at 8. So they adjusted that. They're going to meet at 10 over at the DNRC building. I think I have it on here. June 16th, so a week before ours. Yeah, and Michelle's not here, so I think that pretty much does it. So yeah, our next board meeting is in June, June 22nd in Billings, and this is my final meeting as president. So you all get Mike Powell next month.
No applause.
Hold your applause for the end of the meeting. Yeah, it's been a pleasure serving you guys as president for the last year, particularly at the conference. I had a blast. It's probably one of those things where, when you I wouldn't say get thrown into, but you volunteer to be vice president. You definitely don't see the end of the road, and you certainly don't want the end of the road coming, because I enjoyed all 3 of my 2 years of my 3-year term. So, and now I got to stay on one more year to kind of see how it shakes out with both Jeff and Mike coming aboard. So, and so yeah, I appreciate you all letting me be president for the last year. And the one thing I didn't like was speaking at the conference, but I knew that was just kind of part of the title, and I didn't want to get around that like some previous presidents have. So I guess that's word of the wise for if you sign for vice president, make sure to speak at the conference, because that's kind of I wouldn't say it's your job, but it's kind of your spotlight essentially, or time to talk. So
your time to shine, Jeff.
That's right.
There's no shining for me. I was trying to think of a better word for shining, but I was like, no, there isn't. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
I want to say first that Jeff, you did a great job. And I mean, this is the first time I've been involved with this, and I'm definitely going to be asking you for help along the way, just so you know.
No problem at all. I mean, I think that's why the president stays on for a 3rd year, just kind of offer assistance and advisement that past present year, and then our gift, the gift of all gifts, is to run the election before we head out the door. So it's right. It's a nice little transition off the board.
Absolutely. I'll motion to adjourn.
Hey, just before we go, I'm sorry. This is Rob. I just wanted to say, both Michael and Jeff, I've seen glaciers come and go. And
comparing us to glaciers, huh?
No, myself. And the dedication that both of you have shown, and the enthusiasm and engagement, I mean, it's just awesome. So just want to thank both of you for the years of service, and it's just made the whole organization very friendly and engaging. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob. I'm still on 1 more year. I'm not going anywhere.
I know.
You guys have to put up with me for 1 more year. Let's put it that way.
As Megan and I can attest, I don't think you ever really go away, do you? So that's just how it goes.
This is true.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Steve and Michael as well. It was a pleasure serving with you guys. So you haven't seen the last of any of us.
I appreciate all the words, everyone.
Yeah, thanks guys. It was a pleasure working with you.
Miss you, Steve and Michael. Please don't be strangers.
Oh, I won't be.
Okay, good.
Don't send any nasty messages about the rate increase.
Managed to get Jeff back once. We could do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably join y'all again when I do finally leave the board. But this is one thing that a lot of the membership don't realize is it's incredibly fun and rewarding to be on the board, and like it's just opened just doors that I've never experienced possible. I mean, just leadership and planning skills and people skills. I mean, it all kind of just led into just one big professional development movement for me. So yeah.
If you want an old timer ribbon at the conference, you got to keep coming back.
That's true. Okay, I think Mike motioned to adjourn. I'll take a second.
I can second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right. And we finished just in time for an hour and a half. So have a good one, everyone, and hope to see you either online or down in Billings in about a month.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. It's been fun.
Hey, guys.
All right.
Thanks, y'all.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.